Got that drip.
Drip, drip.
Oh.
Drip down.
Yeah.
So my appendix exploded, and this is my story. Now, before I get into it, just two very quick things. The first one being, if you're experiencing any of the symptoms that I'm describing, please seek medical help immediately. Appendicitis and a burst appendix can be life-threatening, so do not take any chances with that. The second thing is, this is a unique story to me. Just keep in mind that people have different experiences with it. And if you're someone who has had appendicitis or a burst appendix, let me know down in the comments what your experience was like, how it was similar or different than mine. I think it's really important that we keep people informed on this kind of thing. But without further ado, let's get into it. So this journey all began on Saturday, June 17th. It was a normal day until the evening time when I suddenly started to get a pain in my abdomen. The best way that I've been describing this to people is it felt like someone was taking my organs and like clenching them in a fist and just not letting go. There was no time of relief from this pain. It was just like a constant, and it like slowly moved to different parts of my abdomen. And so like anyone who's in pain, I did a little Google search, a little WebMD. And at the time that was my only symptom. And so what kept coming up was like trapped gas. So I pulled up some YouTube videos of yoga to kind of relieve that. But obviously that didn't help. And then further in that night, I then started to develop feelings of nausea, which then led to me vomiting, getting sick. And this went on through the entirety of the night. I did not sleep at all. This pain kind of kept me up. And I've heard a lot of people like they would be hunched over in pain, like on the floor. For me, it was the opposite. When I'm in pain, I can't sit down. So I was like pacing around my house. I remember trying to take like a hot bath to try to relieve the pain at like 2 a.m. And I remember that there was a moment where I got up to go to the bathroom and I looked at myself in the mirror and I looked so pale. And I was like, maybe I should call an ambulance. This seems pretty serious, but I ignored that. And that was my gut feeling. Like I knew something was terribly wrong, but I just completely ignored it. And a little bit of a backstory. So unfortunately, a week prior to this happening, there was a death in my family. My grandmother sadly passed away. And so my parents, who I was living with at the time, a week before had to urgently go to make sure things were okay in that. So I was alone at this time and I didn't want to bother anyone because it was, the middle of the night. I maybe texted my boyfriend like, hey, I'm not feeling well, but I didn't think it was anything serious. I was thinking first the trapped gas, and then I was like, oh, maybe this is just really bad food poisoning or a stomach virus. So again, never slept until I want to say it was like 9 or 10 a.m. the next morning. I was on my bed and I remember waking up like a folding chair. Like I was sitting up and my chest was to my knees, and I woke up getting up from that position. But when I woke up, the pain that I had in my abdomen was gone. And so in my head, I was like, okay, I'm getting over this. I still was feeling nauseous and I may have gotten sick like a few times in the morning. But the next day, I really just spent the time to rest up. My appetite wasn't there and I kind of treated it like I was recovering from food poisoning. So that was really that whole day. Nothing else really happened. But then that brings us to the next day, which is when things just went crazy. So now we're looking at Monday, June 19th. And on this day, my parents had scheduled a appointment at the vet for 2 of my cats. And so I asked my boyfriend to come over to help me. We went, and on this day, I was feeling better, but I knew I was still off. Like something was not right, and I knew it. But again, in my head, I was like, no, I'm still recovering from this weird food poisoning or stomach virus or whatever this is. But there was like one moment where we were standing in the office and I was feeling a little bit, I want to say lightheaded, dizzy. I had to sit down, but that was like the only thing at the time. So we ended up going back. Everything was fine with the cats. And then we decided, let's play some games on my computer. So I set up my laptop in the living room in front of the air conditioner. We were sitting and playing the game, and I just got like freezing cold, which for me is not unusual because really anything under 70 degrees, I'm cold. So I was like, hey, do you mind if we turn off the air conditioning? I'm cold. And he's like, sure, turn it off. And then almost immediately I got like this intense hot flash. I was like burning up hot. And I was like, okay, can we turn the air back on? He's like, yeah, sure. Turned it back on. And looking back, this was definitely a sign of a fever. But again, not in that headspace, not thinking anything of it. But it kept happening again and again and again. Air on, air off. I was hot, I was cold, I was hot, I was cold. By this point, it was probably around dinner time, I want to say. And so my boyfriend's like, hey, you haven't eaten in days because you haven't been feeling well. Like, maybe you should, eat something, drink something. And he was right. The thing was, though, I was not hungry in the slightest. And also the thought of food absolutely repulsed me. It wasn't that I was nauseous or had to get sick. It was just like, food was just disgusting to me. But he knew I had to eat, so he made me a very thin, a very light peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I went and I took the most minuscule bite of the sandwich, and I was like, ugh. And at the same time that was happening, the abdominal pain that I was describing, it returned, and this time it seemed worse. So I started pacing my house again. Finally, I came to my senses, and I was like, I think I should probably get this checked out. So at this time, and I remember this very vividly, it was 7:45 and we decided, let's go to an urgent care, which the ones around me closed at 8 p.m. So we had 15 minutes. We rushed to an urgent care and they took us in immediately. I told them all the symptoms that I was describing. They checked my vitals and everything like that. And then they started to press on my stomach. And that's when we realized that the pain had kind of been targeted to my lower right abdomen, basically with the symptoms and that they were pretty 99.9% sure that this was the early signs of appendicitis. Early. They gave me a little slip that said, rule out appendicitis, and they sent us to the ER immediately. We then made our way to the hospital, and it was packed in there, like so many people. There was a line just to get to the front desk to check in. Eventually, when I did get to the front to check in, gave them all my info, gave them the little slip that the urgent care had given me. I was like ready to bunker down because clearly this was going to be a long wait. The second we went to turn and like find a seat, they called my name. And that's when I realized just how serious this must be, because I was skipping all these people in line. So immediately they sat me down to check my vitals in that same room. And almost immediately after that, they were like, get this girl an EKG right now. I remember a nurse like panically coming to me and was like, do you feel like your heart is pounding out of your chest? And I was like, no, I don't. And this is making me nervous though. So my anxiety is through the roof. Turns out that my heart rate was close to 200 beats per minute. From this point on, the hospital kind of became a blur for me, but I'll try to remember it the best I can. I just remember how awkward the transition was from me standing and walking to having to be put in my bed. So after getting the bed, they brought me to my own room in the ER. I had to take off my clothes, put on the hospital gown, and they hooked me up to all these things that were automatically, checking my blood pressure, checking my heart rate constantly. They also set me up with an IV. I also had blood work done, urine sample, all the fun stuff. Eventually, I did also get a CT scan done to really see if it was appendicitis. And spoiler alert, the doctor eventually came in and let me know that it was a perforated appendix, aka my appendix had burst. So that was that whole entire night I was up, and bless my boyfriend, he was there the entire time, and half that time he didn't even have a chair to sit on. He was just standing over my bed, helping me out, keeping me sane through all of this. And this is where my experience seems to be different than a lot of people's. So the plan for me for healing was they were going to pump me with antibiotics in hopes to heal any infection and kind of heal up my appendix. And I would stay in the hospital a few days to do that. Then I would be sent home taking antibiotics orally. And then a few weeks later, I'd have a checkup, and then I'd be able to plan surgery to have my appendix removed. This brings us to Tuesday, June 20th. Now, at some time in that early morning, my boyfriend did have to leave because I needed someone to take care of the house and the pets that are at home. I was told that, I'm done in the ER. We're just waiting for a room for me. And in the morning, then they started to wheel me out. And I was like, yay, I'm getting a room to heal up. Haha, funny joke. I remember the nurse that was wheeling me out. She's like, actually, you're going to be in the hallway and get comfortable because you're going to be here a while. And boy, was she not kidding at all. I was in the hallway that day, the entirety of the day. And it was terrible because it was not just me. It was multiple people's beds just lined up in the hallway because all the rooms were packed with people. My sister actually visited me and took this glorious picture of me. I know I look so good, but she was sitting in a chair in the hallway with me. There's also a moment where I was trying to rest up and my eyes were closed, and out of nowhere I got this like burning in my eyeballs, and I couldn't, like, I've never cried so much in my life. Like, my eyes were just like fountains of water. And my nurse, nowhere in sight, again, super, super, super busy there, and I don't blame her for that. But thank God I was next to the nurse station, and I was like, hey, with tears strolling out my eyes and me being blind at that moment. I'm like, can you get my nurse? Because, like, I'm burning here and I can't see. Eventually she did come and washed my eyes out with solution. Turns out I was having an allergic reaction to the product they were using to clean the floors in the hallway. The one good thing about my hallway hospital day was I was finally able to eat, but not really. I was on a clear liquid diet. Finally, later that evening, one of the nurses, bless her soul, she wheeled me to another room in the ER, and I was ready to bunker down in that room for the night. As you can see, this was a major upgrade from the hallway. I had privacy, my own bathroom, and I was given shampoo and soap. I also got a fresh gown, a toothbrush, toothpaste, a brush. I was then temporarily taken off my IV to freshen up, and although I was washing myself with a sink and a bucket, I felt so much better, and I was able to relax in my bed. As I was falling asleep, a nurse came in and was like, all right, time to go to your room. So they gathered my stuff, popped me in a wheelchair, left me out in the hallway for maybe another half an hour or hour because my nurse clocked out and was like, good luck. That's a whole other thing. But everything that day was totally worth it when they brought me to my room finally. I was brought to this new section of the hospital. It's like a brand new building, actually. And it was beautiful. And I didn't vlog anything that night because I was just exhausted. I did end up filming the next day, though. So here I am, the morning of Wednesday, June 21st, in my recovery room. As you can see, it was a very, very nice room. I had no roommate, a lot of privacy, a very comfortable bed, and honestly, I felt like I was staying in some cool spaceship, which was great for both me and the guests that came to visit me. I had fancy phone holders on each side of my bed, which was very helpful. I had great entertainment options. I watched a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. There was even meditation sections. And another option was a way for friends and family to actually send photos directly to the TV, which was a really cute and fun way to stay connected. I even had a room service menu, which just felt super fancy, like I was in some hotel. And it wasn't only just for me, but it was also for my guests as well. I mean, just look at all the options that I could not have because of my clear liquid diet. Every once in a while, I would also get up to stretch my legs, which I was encouraged to do. So I would get up, look out the window, enjoy the view. I also did have to get up to use the bathroom quite often. And the bathroom itself was also very, very nice. It had a great mirror and lighting to remind myself of how scary I look. It also had a really nice shower, which I was not allowed to use, unfortunately. And of course, it had a toilet with great support bars. That day, my boyfriend came to visit and we talked. We used the photo feature that I was mentioning, and we were even able to have a nice romantic lunch together. As you can see, again, that beautiful clear liquid diet of apple juice, jello, soup, broth. I also had a visit from my friend Haley. Love you and appreciate you. Thank you. To end the night, there was this beautiful sunset, which I couldn't film because I was on the phone, but as you could see, it was just gorgeous. The next morning, Thursday, June 22nd, I was finally able to eat and drink normal food. My appetite wasn't really there yet, so I just went with oatmeal, tea, and a banana, which, after not having solid food for days, was pretty heavenly. At this point, I really didn't know how much longer I would be in the hospital. And that day, my aunt planned to come and visit me. Turns out, when she did come, conveniently, they were like, oh, we're releasing you now. So she drove me home. Thank you, Aunt Carol Ann. And I was home. Hi, everyone. Today is Sunday, June 25th. I have been released from the hospital a few days now. I was released on Thursday. It's Sunday now. And I have to say, I'm not in any pain. I've just been very stressed out and emotional. Mainly because there's a list of symptoms that I was given with a whole packet of how to take care. And one of those symptoms is a fever of 101.4. And through these nights, I've gotten pretty close. And so every day I'm just wondering, like, am I going to be able to spend the night in my own bed tonight? And that makes me very emotional and stressed out. So I'm constantly taking my temperature. I am drinking plenty of water, constantly chugging it down. And then I am still taking antibiotics. So I take those twice a day. My pills are huge. And after 2 weeks, I have an appointment with the doctor surgeon just to see how things have healed up. And then from there, I'll be able to schedule my surgery to have my appendix removed. And so in that time, I continue to take my temperature, rest up, take my pills, and drink plenty of water. Hello everyone, today is July 5th. I recently got back from my follow-up appointment with the surgeon. It's been about 2 weeks now since the hospital. I've been feeling fine, except for last night. I was getting really bad chills. I was shivering. I kept checking my temperature and it was pretty normal. The highest it got was 99. I did end up going back to bed knowing, I had the appointment earlier today. It's just been very nerve-wracking because at this appointment, I basically found out that I have to schedule now a CT scan and blood work just to see how things actually have healed up. But I can't do that until August. So I have to wait a whole other month now. That makes me really nervous because of what happened last night. Because I'm back in that mindset of I don't know if I'm going to spend tonight in my own bed. And it sucks, honestly. It really does. They're making sure that everything is good before just jumping into surgery, of course. But at the same time, it's almost just rip out my appendix so this could end, because this is my summer, Hello, it is the morning of August 5th, and I'm about to be on my way to the hospital to have blood work done and another CT scan. Today is Saturday, and then on Wednesday, I have a follow-up appointment with the surgical doctor at her office to basically see what the results of those tests are. Got that blood work and got that CT scan. Hello everyone, it is Wednesday, August 9th, and I have some great news finally. So I just had my follow-up appointment of my CT scan blood work today, and everything seems to be going well. I'm still healing technically, but I'm at the point now where I can actually schedule my surgery. So now it's official, I will be having my appendix removed in early September sometime. We're still working on getting an exact date. Also, having your appendix removed, in my situation anyway, I did have the option to keep it there, but there's a 30% chance, I believe, that I could get appendicitis again and it could burst again, which 30% is a pretty high number in the grand scheme of things, so I'd rather just one and done, get it out. I will check in with you hopefully in September, hoping that all goes well. Hi everyone, so change of events. It is currently not September, it is still August. Today is August 15th, I believe. And I got a call this morning about my upcoming surgery, which will be taking place August 25th, which is in a week. That is next Friday. Hey everyone, I totally forgot to vlog this, but today it's Monday. My surgery is this Friday. I had to come in for some pre-admission testing, so I got some more blood work done and height taken weight. And then the anesthesiologist came and asked some questions, and they were just going over some things for me. Hello, I know you're probably sick of just seeing my face pop up in various locations telling you stuff, but this is it. It is the night before my surgery, and I am both excited in a weird way and just relieved. Yesterday, I started to get a really sore, scratchy throat, and I was really worried that was going to push off the surgery. And then today, I had a temperature of 99.4, but I talked to the hospital nurses today, and they said it was still fine to go ahead with the surgery, thankfully. So it's still happening. So tomorrow, I will be arriving at the hospital 8 a.m., and then we go from there. At midnight, I have to start fasting, so that's no food, no water, which is kind of terrible because my throat still hurts a lot. But for now, I'm going to try to get some sleep, have an early morning tomorrow, and let's get this appendix out of here. And so it was Friday, August 25th, finally surgery day. It was a rainy day, but I was so ready. For maximum comfort, I decided to wear these baggy soft shorts and this bigger t-shirt. I also decided to braid my hair to keep it out of the way and to stop it from getting tangled at all. Finally, I threw on Crocs since they're easy to take on and off. And this is the full fit for the day. Again, we're going for ultimate comfort here. And after getting dressed, my parents, who actually came all the way back up from Florida for this, so thank you, and my boyfriend, we made our way to the hospital. Once I was there, I checked in and was brought to the surgical floor. And here I was given a room where I then changed into a gown, of course, including the hospital socks. From there, I sat in bed and waited while receiving an IV, more tests, and visits from nurses, the surgeon, and the anesthesiologist. I did have this little TV by my bedside to watch shows or movies, but I ended up just putting on classical music to relax. With the spare time, we also took some thumbnail photos for this video because, well, why not? So I know from what I filmed, the transition from before surgery and after was kind of awkward, so I'll just fill you in on that a little bit. I remember being brought to the room and making the transition from the bed to the table. They strapped my arms down, and the next thing I know, I was giving anesthesia, and they gave me this like really warm, comfy blanket. And I fell asleep. Anesthesia is exactly how everyone had described it to me. And this was my first surgery I've ever had in my life. So obviously I was really nervous about it, but really closed my eyes. Next thing I know, opened them, I was in the recovery room. I remember like someone coming up. It was such a blur though. I was like half awake. Someone came up and I was like, is it normal to be shivering? And they're like, yeah, here's a blanket. And then next thing I know, again, I'm like inside the room that you saw earlier, my like personal room. And then I remember my parents and boyfriend coming in, and I felt so bad at the time because apparently I was giving them like death stares, but I was still out of it. And I also was like super nauseous, and I did end up getting sick a lot. And this was just my reaction from the anesthesia. And they kept trying to like give me food. And I was like, repulsed. No, I'm not hungry. I'm like throwing up here. I did have to do 3 things before I'd be able to go home. So that was eating, which is why they were pushing me to eat. And they were very patient with me with the whole thing. So thank you for that. I also had to walk and then pee. And then I was able to go home. Once I was home, that whole day was really catching up on texts from people, like checking in on me. Thank you again. Appreciate all of you. Like the amount of love and support I got through this whole process, like helped immensely with all of it. So thank you so much. And I kind of just chilled out in my living room with my parents and with my boyfriend, and my sister popped in. Thank you. And she brought me this box of delicious, delicious treats. And from there, I kind of just lived my life trying to heal.
Hey everyone, it's about 10:30 p.m. now. Sorry if my voice is terrible right now. It's very dry for a lot of reasons, but I got back home around 3:30 p.m. and I basically spent the evening resting up. As for the pain is like a dull aching feeling more so, and there's actually 4 incisions in total, and I really only feel it in the larger incision, which is where they had to physically take the appendix out. But even still, it's not terrible. They gave me stronger pain medication to take, but I haven't taken any of that. I haven't even taken any Tylenol or anything. It's been very manageable. It's when I get up, like initially getting up, standing up, or going up the stairs that like hurts. Basically, I still have ways to go with recovery, but you know, I'm just relieved that this happened. Oh my God, I almost forgot one of the craziest things. Okay, I was told that when they took out my appendix, it was inflated. In other words, that thing was about to burst a second time. So thank God I made the decision to have it removed, because I would have had to go through a burst appendix twice. So this was a great decision. It was a 30% chance, and you see that? I was that 30%. So thank God. I don't know when I'm going to check in again. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
So that night I actually ended up having a single cough that sent me into some of the worst pain I've ever felt. But luckily I just took a Tylenol, and by the next day I was fine, and I spent the day resting up. I also received some get well gifts from friends and family. Thank you so much. You know who you are. Got these beautiful flowers, this cute balloon, a Dunkin' Donuts gift card, and these delicious chocolate covered pineapples. Again, thank you so much.
Hello, it is now the nighttime, and I feel so good right now because I just took a shower, and I wasn't allowed to shower until today. I had to wait, and I had like residue from the surgery and even like crusted blood. I know that's terrible, like on my abdomen. And although I would like try to get some off, like I couldn't clean. So it felt so good to finally shower today. I was given like a whole packet when I left on top of like the surgeon, the nurses telling me everything. So just little reminders. I also can't lift more than 5 pounds. The only things that really hurt is like when I'm getting up and when I'm sitting down, and if I'm lying down and I'm sitting up, like that hurts and I really have to like hold on to something to do that. And I'm still kind of getting over this cold or allergies or whatever the heck this is. So like coughing and sneezing, absolutely terrible, as you saw last night. One little cough and that like paralyzed me. That pain was so bad. It also hurts to laugh, and I'm like constantly laughing, and I have to like hold on, and as I'm laughing I'm like ha ha ow, ha 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 ow ow.
In the days that followed, I continued to laugh in pain, but I continued to take it easy and rest.
Hello, so it's Tuesday night now. It's been 4 days since surgery, and today's probably the best I've felt since the surgery. Most of my pain has gone away. I can easily get up and sit down. Well, not easily, but without pain, I could do that. Sneezing and coughing isn't nearly as bad. Also, this like cold or whatever has pretty much gone away at this point, which is also amazing. I also went for a little walk today, emphasis on the little. I'm obviously not at my 100% yet. It's gonna be a while for that, but these baby steps, I mean, considering I just had surgery Friday, like, this is great. So today is Friday, September 1st, which means it's been 1 week since my surgery. It is nighttime now, and I feel like basically this kind of wraps up everything. It's been a week. It's going to be 4 to 6 weeks before I'm fully healed and can fully do everything. But, you know, it's a slow process and things are moving along.
So today, as I'm filming this, it is Sunday, September 24th. So it has been quite the summer, quite the journey for me, but we're here now and it's been past the 4-week mark a little bit. I feel great, honestly. I feel pretty much back to normal. And in case anyone was wondering, the incisions that I got, I have one tiny one right here. I have one right in my belly button, like right above it. And then I have one below my belly. And then the bigger one where the appendix was taken out is like my lower left abdomen. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pretty much back to normal. And I have some exciting, not medical related videos planned for fall. And I'm very, very excited for those. So it's kind of weird to say, but if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like. Also subscribe to my channel. Again, more adventures to come. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!